welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. We got the Future of Education Tech panel. Get started. My name is Wossen Ayele. I'm co-founder at Pariti. We're a freelance-based advisory firm based here in Nairobi, and we're co-sponsoring this event. So also want to point out that you guys can ask questions during the panel, and Alex will help us curate them, and we can ask our panelists to answer them later on. With that, let's get into introductions for our illustrious panel. I'd like to start with Mehdi. You can go ahead and give us a little bit of background on yourself, and then we can go around from there.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Mehdi. I am currently based in Nairobi, working with Moringa School, which is an educational institution that focuses on creating tech workers to kind of meet the growing demand of local tech talent in Kenya, Nairobi in particular. Historically, we've been doing a lot of work on software development, but we've been branching out recently with data science in particular as a new field that we're jumping in. Personally, I have a background in engineering. That's what I studied, that's where I started my career. But a couple of years ago, I made this leap to education, which has been very fun, very challenging. I have a lot more white hair than a couple of years ago, but quite fruitful with ALU first and now with Moringa. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and happy to nerd out about EdTech.
Great. Phoebe?
Hello, everyone. My name is Phoebe Khagame. I am with M-Shule, where I impart learning through delivery of tailored training, tutoring, assessment, and data via SMS messaging. So our target is 80% of the population that are without internet access. We initially started with a primary school product in 2017 and have worked with over 11,000 students at this particular point. And building off on this success, we have developed an SMS training assistant and an M&E tool for organizations. And now we can provide products for whole families that is tailored to them to support them to gain key skills and information. My background, I studied computer science. When I got into the working world, I did not do anything related to computer science. I immediately moved to people. So for 7 years, I was in the healthcare industry, working with anesthesiologists in East, Central, and Southern Africa. And now I am in education, which is also another impactful sector. And then we'll see what next. After education, I think I have come full circle. So if you know what's the natural course of events after healthcare and education, let me know. It's something that we'll probably look at in the next couple of years.
And hi, I'm Nisha Ligon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ubongo. We're a Pan-African social enterprise that creates localized edutainment for kids in Africa. I'm based in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, but we work across the continent. We currently broadcast educational media programs. We're best known for our educational cartoons, Ayele and Me, and UbongoKids. If any of you have kids, you probably hear these sometimes in the background. And we currently broadcast in 14 countries in Africa with a pre-COVID weekly audience of 17 million. Not sure where we're at now, but getting the sense that it's growing. And my background is in product development and design, as well as biology and media production. So a bit of a winding road to get to where I am now as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so each one of your organizations have very different business models. Can you share a little bit more about how you're operating prior to COVID and how you guys are operating now during the pandemic? Can we start with Phoebe?
Sure thing. So I think I look at it in three phases. Look at it from the product side, from the people side, and obviously from the process side. So pre-COVID, our products, like I mentioned, was the primary school product where we have an audience of about 11,000. And then also we had developed business and financial literacy programs that targeting refugees. And we have about 600 refugees that from 4 countries who are actually accessing this content. So COVID comes in, and obviously at this particular point, we are aware of the fact that not everyone has access to information relating to the disease. I think one thing that has been very obvious, especially in Kenya, is a lot of people refer to it as the disease in Nairobi. So we came up with an SMS toolkit where individuals can actually self-assess, find out whether they present the symptoms that infections that put them at risk, or rather whether they have COVID, and the chances of that would also give them the next steps. So that is the one change that we made in our product. We introduced a new product for toolkit. Then in terms of people, initially, our goal being now the parents of the primary school students, majority of whom were able to access our affordable product. But now the challenge is, there's a survey that was done by FSD Kenya and established about 86% of the population has been affected as a result of the curfews and businesses closing. And majority of this have actually experienced more than 30% of fall in terms of income. So with this in mind, we actually had our platform free for a couple of weeks for the people that were already registered, so that they would just be able to access this. So we moved from a position where we were charging for our product and people actually had free. And the other thing also is just acknowledging the people in our organization. In one day, we were able to transition to working from home. Initially, that was not in the way we operated, and all of a sudden we had everyone who was used to coming in the office and seeing each other now being given the responsibility of actually delivering whatever responsibilities they had from home. And the most interesting thing is that April was our most productive month, because we had even our junior most staff take up on responsibility, and even act as program managers. So for us, we have seen a growth of leadership and the potential in which people are able to oversee different programs and projects. So that's transition in people and also transition in the process, but we no longer worked from office and now we're just working from home has been a very interesting thing. So those are the three changes where the three areas where we have experienced particular changes in terms of our operations.
I guess as a follow-up question, Phoebe, you said that you're more productive working remotely. Is that something that you think you will continue? I mean, you're the head of operations, so it seems like a decision you can make.
Oh, absolutely. It's something that we have been discussing in depth, where we are essentially assessing the number of hours that people spend coming into the office. Since in terms of assessment of overall satisfaction, we have gotten the highest numbers and the longest time. People are generally satisfied in terms of how much time they don't get to spend in traffic, how much they also tend to have inter-team collaborations, because at this particular point, with people being offline, I don't know whether it's the faceless thing that is making people open up to actually interactions, but for us, it's something that we are considering adopting in the long run, seeing we basically essentially maybe don't even need to have an office and just have an arrangement where we would meet somewhere when need be, to obviously just ensure that we have the human touch. But this is something that we are definitely considering.
Yeah, the change was quite drastic on our end. We are effectively a brick and mortar, in-person, full-time educational experience. And we were planning, kind of brainstorming, okay, like if the government passes some restrictions, how are we going to react? We were basically in the middle of that. When an announcement was made that all primary, middle school, high schools needed to shut down. On Monday, all tertiary institutions needed to be shut down by the end of the week. So we had to pivot very, very fast on that front, which, again, I mean, similarly to Phoebe, I need to shout out the team just in case some of them are here, but really like that the gymnastics we had to do in a couple of weeks to accommodate for a change of the physical space and the physical constraints were huge. Ultimately, though, our learning model really helped with this. So while students were present in person, the main appeal for that was the ease through which we could coach them and support, and kind of a deliberate desire to build a sense of community and to try and simulate a workplace environment. Now, the workplace has changed for all of us, so maintaining the simulation meant moving online. And the students always had to just do a lot of self-work. They just had resources and coaches and mentors and teachers available to them when they hit a wall. So there was a lot to do, but it was doable in 1 week. We effectively closed for 1 week, paused all progress on any course while we were figuring out our new path. And within a week, we were able to resume all the existing classes that we had. That was a challenging experience as well, because we have a rolling admission. So we have at any given point in time several classes that are at different stages of the experience. So when we resumed, we had people who were in their second week out of a 6-month experience and people who were 2 weeks away from finishing. So we had to figure out across everything, how is this going to work remotely? But luckily, I think we've done quite well on that front. Yeah, so that's been the main challenge, making sure that people are able to engage online. We're providing data bundles to our students to maintain their accessibility, making sure that we can shift as much of the experience we had before to a remote format. And we can dig more into that as questions pop up, but I'll leave it at this for now. Just be mindful of time.
And Nisha, I know Obongo has more of an edutainment sort of angle. How are you guys managing in this environment? Oh, I think you're on mute.
So there's two sides of it, kind of the product and delivery side, and then the kind of back end ops. In terms of product and service delivery, we've always been, delivering via mass media, technology. We're actually quite technology agnostic. So we're most well known for our TV shows, but we also have radio programs. We've got content on YouTube. We have lots of Android apps, interactive voice response, and SMS. So we kind of go across all platforms, and we saw usage really go up really quickly as soon as schools closed across many of those kind of secondary platforms beyond TV. And basically, kind of our 2-year plan became a 2-month plan. There's just this huge gap. In many countries, kind of overnight, we'd gone from being this supplemental fun thing that kids watched on the weekend to really actually the only educational content that was reaching a lot of these households, while governments have been working to put together their own programs. So we focused on doing some really, really quick scaling of partnerships. So we plan to go from 10 countries in 2019 to 20 in 2020 by the end of 2021, and we're already at 15 now, and kind of probably going to hit that in the next couple of months. So trying to keep up with demand and grow really quickly on the product side. And actually, we are launching new products too. So we've got a new radio show we're making in response to COVID, which is launching next month. But then on the ops side, kind of same thing as Phoebe and Mehdi said, I had to really shout out our team, who just did an incredible job transitioning. Interestingly, we're in Tanzania. We're based here, which is not on lockdown. So actually the government is encouraging everyone to go into offices. But we had made the decision as a management team beforehand that as soon as we had cases in the country, we would transition to working from home. So we did do that, and we've stuck with it, and we feel it was the right thing to do. And our team has done incredibly well. We've had some issues. I mean, it's really hot in Dar. We've lost laptops due to heat damage, issues with connectivity and things like that. So there's been a process of getting everyone set up with even just the equipment of laptop fans and home Wi-Fi and things like that to work. But we've been able to keep most of our production going. The big thing that's had to change for us is that we can't, because we have a production pipeline, we cannot get kids or people into our studio to record them. So we've had to be really creative. Luckily, we had a lot of stuff that's already recorded, which is still being animated, and that's all working from home. But now getting kind of creative and exploring new technologies about how do we continue kind of the voice acting and production on what we're doing, and actually speed up that production while we're unable to actually work with the talent in person the way we would normally do. So testing everything from we've bought a lot of people microphones so that they can record from home, to even kind of new software that people use for deep fake videos, where you can put another voice onto someone else's voice. And so just trying to get really creative with that, and make sure that just because we can't go in person doesn't mean we have to stop what we're doing.
So Nisha, you mentioned actually some new opportunities that arose from this crisis, right? Because you guys are focused on content, a lot of these governments maybe don't have that sort of expertise. That opened up the door for different partnerships. I wanted to ask the same question for Phoebe and Mehdi. What opportunities are you seeing in this moment of crisis? Because there are always challenges, but then there are always these opportunities that present themselves in ways that you might not have expected.
Sure, I can take a stab at this. On our end, the opportunity has been pretty big to learn a lot about potential customer segments that we had not really interacted with much prior. And this has manifested in a couple different ways. One, we were quite worried to not position ourselves as a purely online experience or a remote experience, because the competitive landscape is just different on that front. So trying to understand people's perception to purchasing an online offering that is built locally and kind of targeted for this local market has been interesting. And we've been doing like a whole series of focus groups and really kind of ramping up our marketing admission to understand better who are we interacting with. Similarly, in terms of just engagement with the program, we typically position ourselves as a full-time offering. Turns out when you're working from home, it's really hard to convince anyone to be full-time on anything. So people really perceive it as some kind of part-time opportunity and are able to juggle it with other commitments. And again, we're trying to understand those dynamics. But I think from a more internal perspective, one thing that I also find fascinating is that this is just an impromptu kind of stress test of everything you do as an organization, where there's a lot of opportunity to just realize that some of the systems you put in place that perhaps you trusted to scale with you over the next few months and next few years, now that they're under pressure, can't really keep up, and we need to think of those approaches in different ways. So I think those have been kind of the biggest learnings on our end, mostly discovering that there's quite a receptive audience for online offerings that we think will actually sustain itself even past the restrictions, as well as kind of just understanding better how we can be a lot more efficient as an organization and what aspects will scale best over time as we grow.
Yeah, I mean, along the same lines, the one thing that has been big for us is the fact that we realize that there are industries that we ideally would not have gotten into this fast, but now we've gotten into them. Like I mentioned, the healthcare sector, where we're working with a healthcare organization right now to actually give content, professional development content to some of the nurses. And this has been necessitated by the fact that under normal circumstances, SIP continuous professional development meetings are held in hospitals, or sometimes they're held offsite, and guys get together and learn. But right now that has been. And taking into account that, yes, while majority of people have mobile phones, in Kenya, a survey showed that only 1 in 5 people actually use their phones regularly to access the internet. So we've come into this space where we are taking advantage of the fact that, yes, people have devices. So what is the easiest way we can reach out to them? And that is messaging. So looking at different industries where we can get in and make our impact has actually been the greatest and biggest thing for us out of this thing. Then we also have the COVID-19 self-assessment kit that I had mentioned, and this actually also has child-friendly language, which means that for different families that probably only have one device, the parents may be able to and also give it to their children for them to learn through it as they're going through the survey. And we have it in 6 languages, to English and Kiswahili, and then 4 other local languages. So diversifying our product, diversifying the language in which we make different products available has actually been the big running point at this particular point. And also branching out to different areas, making things more accessible, taking advantage of SMS, which is what almost everyone is able to access.
Great, thank you. Now I want to open it up to the Q&A. So I'm going to add in Olani. All right, I just added you, Olani, but I don't think it's working. So let's move on to Tijan. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Olani.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Can you quickly introduce yourself and then share your question?
Okay, can you hear me? I want to be sure you can hear me first and foremost. Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. My name is Olani Adiosun, and I'm the founder CEO of Total Infotech and Telecoms Limited. Pretty much we develop tech solutions. We identify problems and use technology to solve them. We have solutions in, we have a solution in EdTech, we have a solution in FinTech, quite a number of them in FinTech, then in PropTech as well. So, but I've been pretty interested in one Phoebe has been talking about, because anything that has to do with mass adoption, that's really where we sit down, and I've heard so much about her talking about SMS and all, and I'm worried because of the part of the world where we come from in Nigeria. Education is very critical to us, but unfortunately, because of the COVID incidents, a lot of our schools are not in session as we speak, the public schools. The private schools have been able to find a way to use one of these online tools to be able to deliver courses and lectures and all, but the public schools predominantly disadvantaged with this. So from the model that you guys adopt in Kenya, I'd help to have some kind of collaboration. And again, pretty much learning points for us to adopt in this environment to be able to suit, for people to really go back to school, irrespective of them. Because again, you've talked about opportunities around SMS and all that. So if people do not even have internet, they should be able to go back to school. So I think it's a learning point for us to be able to leverage.
I have to stop there. I think we have to just the question. Phoebe, do you want to answer that?
So one of the things that you have mentioned is opportunities for collaboration. Obviously, yes, that is there. And I think for us, the one thing that we have pushed for to make sure that the students that are using our platform also don't miss out on what is going on in terms of the schools as far as 844 is concerned, is that we use the content that has actually been approved by the by the KICD and also the Ministry of Education. I mean, I think the one thing that everyone was concerned about when we went into this particular field were the restrictions that would be placed by the Ministry of Education in terms of who could provide what content. But the great thing is that the only restriction that is there is that you need to provide content that has been approved by the ministry. So that is something that we have done. Again, in different countries in terms of adoption, it will depend on the policies that are there and that have been set by your country. I mean, I think in the health panel, the one thing that was mentioned is when all is said and done, in as much as there might not be structure in your particular country, the goal is to have a model that means your product has integrity. So if your country has certain policies that have been set as far as how education can be done, or rather how content is distributed, well and good. If not, I mean, I think that is a partnership that we can pursue with the different partners that we also have that help us in terms of channeling and chatting parts of the organizations. That will be it from me. I think I'll just put my contact, then you can side chat me and we can carry on this conversation.
Perfect. We also have Tijan, who's waiting in the queue. We're just adding him now. And I think this will be our last question. All right, I don't know if he's able to join. Let me see if there are any other questions. I guess I'll ask a question of my own. During this period, what is something that you've learned that you previously did not know? And this could be something about your customers, about their behavior, about something about your product, maybe its applicability, and maybe something that you learned to challenge the assumptions that you had about your business prior to this period of the pandemic. That's an open question, yeah.
One quick thing on our end, I think we've learned quite a bit about our relationship with our investors and how to kind of secure this and leverage this in this particular context, and just really trying to get on the same page around what matters. Again, like as a physical organization, revenue was something we knew was going to take a big hit. What was crucial for us was to be able to maintain numbers. And right now we're actually even looking at a scenario where we're going to grow potentially beyond some of our expectations, but just understanding our data well enough to be able to make kind of sound arguments to partners and investors that kind of help us be confident about our future, but also bring our partners on board with this. So in particular, like what we saw post the announcement that we're moving to remote and the announcement of the kind of physical schools having to shut down was actually an increase of applications, but a big drop in conversions. So playing around with the business model, playing around with how much we're going to charge, things of the sort, and securing funding to make up for that was pretty crucial to kind of keep us going. So I guess like the lessons learned there are around one, just data and really understanding your trends, the trends of your customers and where they're going. And second, just being able to have this kind of very direct and clear conversations with your partners around, this is our game now. We are going to try and maintain our presence. Make sure we keep people engaged with us because we're about to enter a brand new business, and that's like an asset that we can take into it. So those will be, I think, the big things for us as an org.
So from our side, similarly, kind of building off of the importance of the relationship with investors, also relationships with partners, and making sure that you're really, kind of mission and goal aligned with your partners. We had to make some really tough decisions in kind of the first couple of weeks of COVID response, where, we've had you work with these big, huge companies, right? In Kenya, we worked with Citizen TV, people like Safaricom, who kind of have all of the power, and you're always afraid to kind of rock the boat or negotiate really hard. And we'd been kind of stuck in the middle of some like really long negotiations where we were just kind of the little fish in the pond and not really getting anywhere. And I think that this actually gave us the push to take a stand on some things that we really felt strongly about, that we'd been kind of half negotiating for a long time. And finally we were willing to kind of put our foot down and say, it's this or we walk. And we did actually walk from our biggest broadcast partnership that we had, like within a week of schools closing in Kenya, which was an incredibly scary thing to do, but has actually paid off, so much, because we've been able to actually find the right partners who are really aligned with our mission and grow together with them, instead of feeling just like, oh, we have to, kind of feeling that we were at the mercy of some of these really, really big corporate partners. And it's something that I see, especially in ed tech, some of these companies, hold so much power. So yeah, it's been a real learning for us that actually we have more power than we think we do as small scale entrepreneurs. And sometimes we just have to stand up and make sure, we're doing what we think is right. And hopefully, other people will follow.
Wonderful. I think that's a great way to close this out. We've come to the end of our session. Thank you for participating. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to be adding in Phoebe, who's going to take it from here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Can I get on? Hi. Okay, great. Hi, Wossen. Thank you.
Hey.
So I'm actually just coming on because I think I'm supposed to be giving closing remarks. So if you guys are still on here and it's not yet 5:50, you can cheat and continue the conversation for like 2 more minutes or something. I don't know. We're trying to, I think, get everybody in here for the closing remarks, and Alex will tell me when I'm supposed to start. But thank you guys for coming on. I really like this, especially I think I like Mi's question. This is me cheating. So Wossen, I really like the one of Mi's questions about, like, in Nigeria, not everyone has as much access to technology to get on the education bandwidth, and what can we do about that? So I hope you guys actually can connect and get something happening. Alex, tell me when I'm supposed to start, please, before I talk to just myself and these 4 gorgeous people in front of me. Okay, I can start. Great, thank you. Wossen, do you drop off as well, or how does this work? I don't know if it's a full screen or not.
I think it's supposed to be just you for this. So
okay. All right. Bye, you guys. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Chidi. I lead partnerships at TechCabal Media. TechCabal Media is the parent company of TechCabal and Zikoko. This conference was organized by TechCabal in partnership with Pariti. Pariti is a freelance-based advisory and investment management platform, and TechCabal is a platform that talks to all the important investors, operators, and regulators in the African tech ecosystem, as is evident from this conference that we've had. I hope everybody has had fun. I hope everybody has learned something. I just wanted to give some tell us what's next with TechCabal. So TechCabal has a newsletter that comes out by 7 a.m. every Nigerian working day. We do this to give information about what's going on in the African tech ecosystem. I'm so happy that we made your day, Nii. Thank you for staying with us. There's a DJ session after this, so don't leave. Also, we have a renewable energy sector report coming out. It talks about where the renewable energy sector is right now, how technology is either enhancing or not enhancing it, what government should do about it. One of the things I liked about this session was finding out some of the reasons why we should be bullish on Africa. I think Kola and a lot of other speakers made excellent points, and a lot of the things they spoke about was infrastructure and collaboration. While TechCabal doesn't build infrastructure, we talk about the people that build infrastructure and how well or how badly they're doing that. So definitely read our well thought out articles on techcabal.com, and please subscribe to our newsletter. That is also, I think Alex might put the link here so you can subscribe now. Also, I wanted to talk about other events. We put events together. So if you've enjoyed this event and you want us to put something like this together for you, please message us at hello@bigcabal.com. Please don't forget to fill out the survey for this event so that we have proof that you guys enjoyed this conference. Nii, you are like a super fan. Thank you for the newsletters. Please tell everybody so they know that they should read it as well and get some knowledge. I'm just going to wrap up by saying I hope we continue the interactions in networking. There is a DJ session after this, so you can now bring out the bottles of alcohol that you've been hiding to pretend to be responsible. You can bring them out now. It's officially the weekend. Thank you for being in our space. Thank you to all the investors. Thank you to all the operators. Thank you to everybody that volunteered their time to be on here and to just be with us. I look forward to building, according to Kola, I look forward to all the entrepreneurs building Africa, and I look forward to the government kind of getting out of our way so we can get it done. Thank you all, and I will see you in the DJ section. The CEO of TechCabal promises to be on there dancing. His name is Tomiwa. If you don't see him, please message him like 3 times so that he can come on stage. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everybody. Ciao.